Hi friends, Cathy Madeo here, back with another video. This one, a practice along to unlock those hamstrings. You might be one of my newer subscribers who subscribed after watching this one video that seemed to pick up a lot of traction that I posted over 2 years ago called Unlock Your Hamstrings Fast. If you haven't watched that video, I want you to pause this video before practicing, watch that video so you can get the fundamentals, and then come back to this practice along. If you're one of my new subscribers from watching that video, I want to say thank you so much for all of your amazing comments. I've been reading through all of them and for clicking that subscribe button. In order to get the best results from this video, you're really going to need some props. And so if you don't have yoga props like 2 blocks, a strap, and a blanket, I want you to pause the video and just go get creative around your house. I'm going to be doing the entire class with props and taking more of a modified looking pose so that you can see yourself more in me and not see a final kind of destination. Because here's the thing about yoga and our postures is that that destination is actually an illusion. The poses are just there to help us get information about our body. We're not trying to look or achieve anything in the pose. We are just in the pose, and so we're going to accept our bodies in the present moment. So much about flexibility is in the mind. It's the way our brain sends signals to our muscles to either tighten or relax. So when I ask you to do things like breathe or soften or let go, that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is trigger that parasympathetic nervous system to start to tell your muscles that you're safe and it's okay to relax. So with all that said, grab your props and let's get started. We'll begin on our backs. Make sure you have 2 blocks. 2 pillows would also work here, and a long strap. And I will show you where we're going to center today. You'll have the soles of your feet together, and then you'll take those 2 blocks just to the outside of the thigh bone there. And you can see I've placed them in a diagonal position, so we have the nice side edge resting on our thighs there. So set up for your cobbler's pose or Supta Baddha Konasana here. And one of the reasons why we're putting the props underneath us is because you can even feel what this feels like when you don't have them there. The joint starts to get a little stressed, and then those muscles start to tense up. Now, sometimes we want tension in our joints in order to deepen, but for this, we don't. So we want to take all that tension out and take a passive stretch here in the adductors and the hip joint. Now you can just close down your eyes here. We'll just take a few moments to center before we begin moving our bodies. As you're here, do your best to breathe in and out through your nose, allowing your belly to be soft, deep inhales and exhales. Watch your breath go in and watch it go out. We'll just do our best throughout class today to get out of our own way. If negative thoughts come up, such as like, oh, I feel so tight, or I'm not flexible, just let them come up, but just watch them as they come up without judgment and let them pass. And that will begin the process of detaching to those thoughts. You might notice you're starting to feel more relaxed. We want to be relaxed here in order to stretch our muscles deeply. You can blink open your eyes. You'll set the blocks aside, heel toe your feet in. Hug your right knee into your chest. Allow your low back to flatten here, so you'll stretch your low back. Take your right knee over to the left. We'll take a spinal twist, and you might notice we're stretching the outer hip here as we do that. We'll come back to center and just simply switch sides. So left knee hugs in, flatten your low back. Right hand comes to the outside of the left knee. You're shifting your right hip onto the mat. Left hip is straight on top, and left arm is to the left. Focusing this a little bit less on a twist and more on an outer stretch of the hip. And we'll come back to center. Have both knees bent, soles of the feet underneath your knees, and take your hands and just find your frontal hip points here, the bony part of the front of the hip that's pointing up. And you're going to keep your fingers there to stabilize the hip joint as you let your right leg go out to the side, the right knee, and then back in. So out to the side and back in. So these are kind of supine clamshells here as we just begin to externally rotate the right knee out and back in. And we will switch. So left knee goes out and in. Trying to keep the hips from following the knee. That's why we're placing our hands here. And you're just noticing any stiffness, and you're not judging, you're just noticing. Really everything that we feel in our body is sensation, and unless it's painful like throbbing, shooting, burning, discomfort and sensation is normal. The next thing we'll do is take our hands and clasp them behind the right leg, and we will flex the right foot and point it, flex and point it, flex and point it. We'll keep it flexed now, and we'll straighten the leg. If the hands have to come out behind the thigh to straighten the leg, or if the leg needs to lower a little bit, please do that. And so we're just kind of beginning to warm up the hamstring here. Good. Next, we'll bend, straighten, point. Bend, straighten, point. So foot goes flexed as you bend, straighten, point. Flex the foot, bend the knee. We'll take the strap around the sole of the foot now, and we'll begin to straighten out the leg. So I want you to lower the leg as low as you need to get it straight, okay? So wherever your leg is straight, or you're at a 90 degree here. From here, I want you to take your left hand and bring it to that frontal hip point again and begin to straighten your left leg. And then allow your low back to come off the mat in its natural curvature there in the lumbar spine. Notice if you're tensing your grip with the strap, I want you to slide your hands down a little bit. Let the upper body be relaxed here. And then I want you to really flex through your right foot and press the strap or press your foot into the strap, and then pull the strap in towards your chest. So now we're stretching the Achilles heel and the calf as well, and the foot is flexed like this. Good deep breaths. Take your left hand, hold the strap. Take your right hand like a horseshoe here. You'll want to lower the leg a little bit, and I want you to put this horseshoe grip inside your hip joint. So this is called hip traction. You're giving yourself an adjustment. And what I want you to do is press down the thigh, your thigh, and then see if you can bring your right foot up a little bit closer. Now you're only going as close as you can keep the leg straight. Good. Now we'll keep this. We're not doing a full twist, just a little bit of like a lean over with the right leg to the left. And now we'll bring the leg up, switch the grip, left hand onto the thigh or the hip point, because I don't want this left leg to move as you bring the right leg out. So if you're doing this, you're actually just keeping the hip closed. We're opening the hip now, externally rotating our right leg. So keep the left leg grounding down. Your low back has its natural curve, so we don't want to tuck the pelvis under, just its natural curve. And keep pressing out through your right foot into the strap and gently pulling the strap in towards your chest. And if there was like one stretch you might do on the daily, for those of you that want to increase your hips and hamstring flexibility, I would recommend this. And you'll release. And we will switch that whole thing. So we're starting without the strap, bend and straighten, bend and straighten, bend and straighten. And then we are pointing and flexing, pointing and flexing, pointing, flexing, point and flex. And now we'll go bend, point. So foot is flexed as we bend, point, flex, bend. And the next time we come down, we'll take the strap around the sole of the left foot and we'll begin to straighten our left leg as we straighten the right leg, pelvis in a neutral position. Getting your left leg nice and straight. You don't need to lock out the knee joint, but you can engage your left quadriceps there to help straighten the knee. And then we're going to actively flex the left foot, pull your toes back towards your chest and start to stretch the Achilles heel and the calf as well. Breathing easy. Switch the grip. We're taking our horseshoe grip. We can lower the leg a little bit so we can get deep here into the hip crease. And as you press the thigh away from you with your horseshoe grip, you will pull your leg in with the strap. Relax your shoulders. Few more breaths. And we will switch the grip. Right hand comes onto the front of the right thigh, and we're allowing the left leg to go out to the left. But once you feel your right hip lift up, you've gone too far. So try to keep your hip all the way over to the right. Keep really extending through the left knee, reaching through the left heel. Press the foot into the strap as you pull the strap in a little bit. Relax your shoulders, relax your jaw, letting go of any thought patterns coming up that aren't serving you. Inhale, lift the leg up, we'll release, and you will meet me in a tabletop. As you set up your tabletop, if you are facing your camera, I'd recommend having your head pointed to the right so that we'll always be facing each other during class. You don't have to use a blanket under your knees, but I told you I would use all the props here and the modifications, so that's what I'm doing. This is great if you feel any knee pressure here. So we're in a tabletop position. We're going to kind of amp up those clamshells now and do some fire hydrants here. I'll start with the left so you can see. You will take a left leg fire hydrant. So we'll flex the foot, left knee is out, and then down. And then out, and then down. We're just going to do one more, and we'll turn this into a hip circle. Go down, circle back, and around. Back and around, like you're drawing circles with your knee. If it's more comfortable too, you can also come onto your right forearm. And we'll switch sides. So if you hear any cracking, that is completely normal. It's actually just air in the joint, as long as it's not painful. So when we do these circles, we stimulate the synovial fluid in the joint, which gives us more range of motion. It's something great to do in the mornings. Again, we will bring our right knee out to the side and back, and fire hydrant out to the side and back, out to the side. Next time we go back, we'll start our circles. So drawing big circles out, down, back, out, down, back. And we will switch directions. Again, some of you might be on your left forearm. Good. We'll set the knee down, widen your knees apart, big toes touch, walk your hands out. If your forehead doesn't reach the ground, this is child's pose, you can place one of those blocks right underneath the forehead here. Take just 2 more breaths. And we'll inhale up, transition into our first downward facing dog, and we'll think of that video where I talked about keeping your knees bent. So from tabletop, walk your hands out just a little bit, toes curl under. Keep those knees bent as you lift the hips up, and I want you to really tilt your pelvis forward, like exaggerate the tilt. You'll feel your low spine draw in because that pelvis is going in an anterior position. It's tilting forward. So this is like a turbo dog here as we press our chest back towards our thighs and keep a deep bend in our knees. Keep pushing the floor away from you, shrugging your shoulders up to your ears here. Now you'll play with straightening your left leg, but it's not about sending your heel down to the ground. We want to keep the pelvis tilting forward, not tucked under. And then we'll switch. Good, and then we'll come back to our turbo dog position, and I want you to play with straightening your legs just a little bit until you feel the pelvis want to tuck under. From here, you'll walk your feet forward. Now make sure you have your 2 blocks at the front of the mat. Walking your feet forward, have your feet hips distance apart. Spread your toes, lifting the inner arches of your feet. Keep that forward tilt of the pelvis. Your blocks are underneath your shoulders and you're folding. And you're bending your knees as deeply as you need to in order to get your chest on your thighs. Remember, the blocks have different settings here. Release your jaw. Might feel a nice stretch here in the low back in this position. Release your head. Next, we'll inhale, halfway lift. So come into the higher setting of the blocks if you're not already. Push your hands into the blocks. Begin to straighten your legs and reach the crown of the head forward. Bring your shoulder blades in towards your spine. So that pelvis is still tilting forward even though it looks flat here. You can be up on your fingertips here. You can even use a chair if the blocks aren't high enough. Bend your knees, exhale, fold, and inhale, we'll rise all the way up. And exhale to our mountain pose. Stand up nice and tall. Feeling the corners of the feet pressing down. Inhale, big reach of your arms up. As you fold, you'll begin to tilt the pelvis forward, which means your knees might need to bend. So bend those knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Legs can come to straight. Fingertips on blocks, long spine. We're going to take our blocks with us as we slide them back. Shift your weight to your right foot. Big step back of your left foot. You'll drop your left knee down. You can land it right on the blanket. Reposition everything. So you'll probably want to slide your blocks back. Climb your hands on up to your right thigh. And we're got kind of like a 90 degree angle here of your legs. Just breathe here, get a nice long spine. And here I actually want you to tuck your pelvis under for a moment, targeting this range here of the psoas, right at the front of your hip joint. We'll inhale up, take hold of your left wrist and take a side bend over to the right. This is getting into the psoas, and start to lean back a little bit. The psoas is a long muscle, one of the only muscles that crosses from the spine to the leg, and it flexes the leg in front of our bodies. One more breath. As you exhale, you'll catch hold of the blocks and we'll come into a runner's stretch. You might want to shimmy your front foot forward. You'll flex your front foot. Keep your hip points squared across the mat and facing forward. We're staying upright here for a moment. Really flex through your right foot. You'll feel the calf stretch, the Achilles heel. We'll inhale, lengthen the spine even more. Tilt your pelvis forward. And then use your exhale from that position to see if you have any room to fold. And if nothing is moving much here, then I want you to just allow your upper back to flex here and round, because forward folds, our spine, they are in flexion. We'll do a little bit of a PNF stretching technique here. So I want you to drag your right heel back. It's isometric contraction. You'll feel your hamstrings in the right leg get a little warm or fired up there. And then I want you to release that and just fold a little bit deeper. Deep breaths. Remember, you can be as high up on the blocks. One more breath. Good. Walk the blocks forward, bend your front knee, lift your back knee up, big step. We'll take that half lift and exhale. We'll switch sides. Weight shifts to our left foot. Step your right foot back, drop your back knee, climb the hands up, find that 90-90 angle, scoop your pelvis under, hold here for a moment, keep reaching your crown of the head up, get length in your spine. Inhale, reach your arms up, catch hold of your right wrist, side bend over to the left, and then lean back. And breathe. So you might notice it's a little harder here to breathe as we extend through the spine a little bit. Inhale, lift up, exhale, hands come onto the block. We're coming into the runner stretch. So we're keeping our hips over our back knee. Staying upright here for a moment. Flex through your left foot. Isometrically drag the left heel back, firing off that isometric contraction. And then I want you to release that dragging back and fold wherever your fold is. Soften here through the breath. If you're getting distracted or thoughts are coming up, that's okay. Just become an observer on your mat, and in your life, it's really the practice of mindfulness. One more breath. Good. We'll bend the front leg. Take your blocks with you. Lift up. Take a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. You can bend those knees. I want you to bend the knees as much as you need to get the chest on the ground, on the thighs. We'll inhale all the way up to stand and exhale to our mountain pose. Make sure you have your block with you here to the outside of your right foot. We'll shift the weight to our left foot. Bring your left knee out to the side. A big step, widen our feet for our warrior two. So front heel lines up to the center back arch. Engage your outer left hip. Bend your right knee more. Arms straight. 2 more breaths here. Push down into your front leg to straighten it and heel toe your back foot in quite a bit. We'll keep the outer edge of the back foot parallel to the back of the mat. So both legs are open in the hips. You'll bring your arms out. I want you to lean way forward here. So now we're taking a fold here through the hip joint, and you can catch hold of your block. And if the block is too low, you could even double up the block. So triangle pose. Turn your chest to the side. Feel the inner thighs stretching as well. We'll bend our front knee, inhale up, and take one of your blocks, or both if you use them, and we're basically going to switch sides here. So we'll start in our warrior two, a little bit of a longer stance here through the feet, so we can bend generously through the front knee. So hips are opening, hip joint is nice and level on the mat. Shoulders stack right over the hips. Just one more breath here. Push into your front foot to straighten out your front leg. Heel toe your back foot in. Feel nice and long through the spine. Reach forward, so getting length through your side body. You'll exhale, left hand down onto the block, right arm lifts up, chest turns. Just watching your breath. Inhale up. We will still take hold of our block here. Have your toes pointing forward, feet wide on the mat here. And we'll inhale, nice long spine. Tilt your pelvis forward. We're coming into a wide leg forward fold. And you can have your block. You can have both of the blocks so they're underneath the shoulders here. And again, if the hands aren't coming to the blocks without tucking your pelvis under, you can either stack the blocks higher, or we'll start to take a bend in the knees a little bit to facilitate that forward tilt of the pelvis. And then I don't want you to stay upright. Wherever you are, eventually, just fold wherever you are. Let that upper back relax a little bit. Deep breaths. Feeling the glutes stretch now, starting to feel that top of the hamstring start to release and unlock a little bit. Inhale, push up. You can take the blocks with you. We'll pivot the right foot forward and just take a big step forward into your mountain pose. We'll set the blocks down here. And we'll continue on. So from here, we'll work on one more standing pose. You can probably move the blanket off of your mat if you were using it. We'll keep using the blocks here. Stand up in your mountain pose. Weight shifts to your right foot. Take a step back of the left foot and have your feet hips distance apart. So the foot is where those bony parts of the hip points are. From here, again, we're taking a pyramid fold, so another forward fold. That means our pelvis tilts forward, 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 spine long. And maybe at around that 90 degree, you start to feel that tightness or that grip. And that's where we can use our blocks here. And again, if a single block is not high enough, you just prop it up. You can also use a chair. Taking some breaths here, we're finding that length in the spine, and then we're folding, allowing the upper back to round so that we stretch the whole posterior line of the body. Now, if the knees need to bend a little bit, let them bend or come up higher on the blocks. That would be my preference, but if you're as high as you can go and still need to bend the knees, bend the knees. Take our blocks with us, step forward, halfway lift, bend your knees and fold. Inhale, we'll roll up one vertebra at a time. Meet me in a mountain pose, and we'll switch sides. Weight shifts to the left, step your right foot back. Inhale, long spine. Hands can even come on hips here to feel that forward tilt of the pelvis. So perhaps pause right at that 90 and just kind of check in with your body. It's usually where I start to feel the top of the hamstrings here. Long, long spine, sternum forward, and then exhale, fold. So your feet are about 2 to 3 feet apart. Feet are hips distance apart. And your back toes are spinning quite a lot. Let gravity pull your head and your upper body down. We'll inhale, halfway lift. Take the blocks with us. We're coming forward into a halfway lift. Heel toe your feet a little wider than hips distance. And we might want to have the blanket here again to pad our knees. You'll start to move your blocks to the inside of the right leg. Take a big step back of your left foot, drop your back knee, and work it so that your right foot is towards the side of the right mat and the heel is directly underneath your knee. So this is lizard lunge, and we'll start upright here to start. So we're deeply stretching the psoas of the back leg. We're getting into the hip joint of the front leg, the groin area. Deep breaths. And we'll begin to work onto our forearms. So now again, the blocks have 3 levels, so we can stay right here onto your forearms. And think of the sternum going forward, kind of in this like horizontal plane. So your gaze is down towards the ground, but forward about 8 inches. Deep stretch here. Again, your arms are to the inside of the right thigh. We're just allowing gravity to let our pelvis sink down. Returning to our breath. Now, it's normal to feel sensation here. You're going to feel, especially wherever you're tight, you'll feel more sensation. And it's not bad, right? We want to start to move away from this like, oh, I feel so tight, or oh, I'm so stiff. It's just sensation. You're just putting tension in your joints. And who wouldn't feel anything in this position, right? Right? Couple more breaths. Okay, so we slowly move out of these deep stretches, right? Because our joints are going to want to recoil. So slowly come up onto your hands. You can send the hips back. We'll lift the back knee, step it forward. You can wiggle the hips out a little bit, and we'll switch sides. So left foot goes all the way over to the left. Blocks come to the inside of the left leg. Big step back of the right foot. Drop your back knee down. Notice I just repositioned my foot, so I've got a lot of space here. I want to open up the groin area. Hands underneath the shoulders. Uncurl your back toes. And just start that process of settling into the pose. Finding comfort and discomfort. Really just takes a reframing of what we think we're supposed to be feeling. As you're ready, you'll bring your forearms down onto the blocks. Pull the sternum forward. So we're still trying to get a long spine here. Deep breaths. If your back leg is a lot more bent, you might stay upright on the hands here. This is the time to go inward. And you can just start by either watching your breath or bringing your attention to sensation. Take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly we'll begin to work our way out. Hands come onto the blocks, hips shift back. This time we're going to end up on our seat, and we want to sit up on the edge of the block and have your strap and hands reach as well. We want our hips on the blanket, but our thighs off of the blanket. So we want the the blanket to help lift the pelvis up to get this forward rotation. So as we forward rotate, if that bends the knees, we'll let them bend. Bend your left leg and then let the knee go out to the side and rotate more so that you're on the top of the foot. Now you can place a block right here underneath the knee if the knee is higher than the waist. So if your knee is up here, stack a prop under there. We'll take the strap and we'll place it around the sole of the right foot. And you're getting the strap to right about where just below the toe mounds of the right foot. Now the other thing is we want the pelvis squared across the mat. When we bend a leg, we have a tendency to twist here because the pelvis works in halves, right? And it can go like this. So readjust so that both hip points are facing forward on your mat and your right thigh bone is in the socket. All these little nuances, they add up and make a big difference here. Okay, so we will pull the strap into the chest, reach the crown of the head up. Nice flexed right foot. And breathing here. We'll continue to lean a little bit forward so long as you can keep that forward tilt of the pelvis. And we can soften our grip here a little bit. We can even soften the foot a little bit as we begin to fold. Now, another thing you could do is you could use your block if it reaches under your head, if that feels good. And we're going to go kind of in between relaxing and engaging. So for right now, a few relaxing breaths here. Keep your low spine drawing in. Inhale, lift halfway up, pull your strap back, press the foot or the strap away from you with your foot, and then exhale, fold. So just going as deep, like if you've hit your edge here with your low back, then just let the upper back round. If you're higher up or lower, wherever you are, that's just where you are. Deep breaths. Relax the shoulders. So often we feel that we need to do, right? In our poses, like we're not getting anywhere if I'm not sweating or I'm not working. This is actually a lot of work. It's a lot of work to find stillness in a pose. Inhale, lift up and bend your left knee in, and we'll switch sides of the whole thing. So right knee bends, let it go out to the side. You're on the top of the right foot, sliding a prop underneath the knee. Take your strap into your left foot. And we'll take a moment here to just find a really long spine. Flex your left foot, pulling the strap to my chest. Reach the crown of the head up. From here, I might walk the hands in towards the foot a little bit. Low spine's drawing in, pelvis is forward. Knee is bent if needed here, and we'll fold. You could even roll up another blanket and place it underneath your knee so the knee has something to press into. You can use that block or a prop underneath your head if that felt good last round. Just wherever you are today, deep breaths. Any distracting thoughts come up, just let them come up, and then just like you're watching them float by. Inhale, halfway lift, pull the strap in, press the strap away from you with the foot, and last time, exhale, fold. Just go to where your depth is today. Upper back can round a little bit. Next inhale, we'll lift through the crown of the head, straighten out your spine, turn your right knee in. We'll set the props aside here and meet me on your back. From here, we'll Bend our right knee, pull it in, externally rotate the knee out to the side and hook your right ankle to the left thigh. And you can take your hands here and gently press your hands away, thighs away from your chest. And next we'll thread our arm through and you can pull the thigh in. If the hands don't reach behind the leg, you can use your strap. So reclined pigeon. Good. From here, we will release the left foot and let the hips go over, or the leg rather, the foot go over here to the left, and then take your hand again, gently press the right leg away. We'll inhale up, unhook, and switch sides. So rotate the leg first so that you're using your own kind of range of motion there in the hip joint. Widen the left knee out to the left, and then we'll take our hands and gently press away. Lift your leg up, thread the hands through. Pull the right thigh in, keep widening your left knee out to the side. And we'll take our right foot down and we're leaning over to the right now. Once your body stops, just be there for a moment. It's just a gentle press away. We're not forcing here. The right thigh gently away. And we'll inhale up. Hug both knees into your chest. We'll take happy baby pose. You can take peace fingers around the toes, outer edges of the feet, or grab your ankles. Shin bones are perpendicular to the earth, knees are nice and wide. Try to keep your hips and your shoulders grounding down. If your chin is lifting up or you feel uncomfortable in the neck, you'll place your blanket underneath your head. Good, and from here we'll bring the knees in, gentle twist over to the right. Release your low back. You can gaze to the left or gaze up. Knees come in and rock over to the left. Inhale, knees up, and we will take our Shavasana final resting pose. So let your feet splay to the corner edges of the mat. Completely relax your legs. Lift your chest up a little bit. Get those shoulder blades in towards the spine, palm up. So if you have any low back discomfort here, you'll roll your blanket up and put it right underneath your knees. Or again, your blanket can be like a pillow underneath your head. And as you we'll just take a couple minutes here as you give your body a moment to just completely surrender any effort or any stretching or any holding of poses. Can perhaps bring your attention to your legs and your hip joint and just notice. Observe sensation. You might feel tingling or more vibrancy there. Relax a little deeper. What are you holding on to that you can just let go and surrender? Feel free to stay here as long as you like. Otherwise, we'll gently wiggle our fingers and toes. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, bend your knees, roll to your right side and just pause here in the fetal position. And then when you're ready, you'll use your left hand, push yourself up, and meet me in a seated pose, sitting up on a blanket or block. As you arrive in a seat, just feel the effects of your practice here. You can close down your eyes for a moment. We'll bring our hands into our Anjali Mudra in gratitude of your practice today and for joining me. Take a deep inhale in. Exhale, we bow in. Namaste, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this practice with me. Remember to like, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, give it a good subscribe. And let me know in the comments how you liked this video and if there are any other classes or tutorials you're hoping to see from me. I'll see you in the next video.